What's up, YouTube? It's Melt Metal Anthony. Today, I'm doing a pretty unique railing. I know I haven't been bringing you guys along on many jobs, but today's a unique one, so I thought it'd be a good day to film. Let's see how this goes. So the contractor, the Timber Kid on Instagram, Alex, was kind enough to set these posts for me. We're doing this at a solid round. The reason is I'm going to roll this with the rock stairway. There's no code involved here. There can't be. These stairs are way out, if you see. This is like only a 4-inch rise, and what is that, like a fucking 24-inch, step? I mean, it is what it is. So we're just making these people a grab rail so they can more safely get up and down this. So I started my morning off by going ahead and marking about between 36 and 38 inches, because that's about the rise we want, or about where we want the railing height. And I've taken this string line and I've stretched it down just to kind of give myself a visual aid to see what this railing's gonna look like. Let me show you what it looks like at a distance. So you can see it has a nice smooth flow, and it just flows right down with the rocks. Of course, it's gonna bow in or out depending on where the step is, because we want this railing slightly over the rock step, just like you would have in a traditional railing. And as always in the Madison Valley, we have a grand view. What I'm gonna do is coat these. I'm using an oversized coping jig. That's okay, I'll eyeball the difference. And I'm just taking my jig, I'm lining it up visually with what way, because I want this rail to go, I actually want to turn it this way, I think. I want it to go like that. So I'm just visually lining up the coat with where I want to send this rail. And it's going to be going down, so we want the coat to be a little lower on the downhill side. Don't cheat the preheat, kids. I know there's a lot of mouth breathers out there that would have you believe otherwise, but go ahead and preheat that steel, especially if it's thick. So I'm preheating for about 30 to 45 seconds, and I'm running a number 3 size tip, and that's what's making it so easy to cut through this 1.5 inches and end up with a fairly clean cut. So there we go, I got it pretty much dialed in. It took me one coat, but I'm not complaining about that. So another thing you might be asking is, how do I start a cut on a round piece that is solid? Well, I start on the outside and I just basically pulse the torch like you just seen me do at the beginning, and that gets me the beginning of a cut, and then I can finish it the rest of the way through. So it's going to be kind of rinse and repeat. So I'm going to bring you back once I get to start laying the actual rail itself. We have a little bit of snow coming in from the mountains over there, but we have the railing all coped and all prepped. I went ahead and I flat disked it. I don't think you guys need to see that. It's pretty basic. And we're getting ready to lay the top rail in there. Go ahead, take it. Stop. Oh, towards me. All right, that's good right there. Cocksucker. So there's really no method to my madness on this. I'm just picking spots that I think it would be the right spot to bend out or bend in. Doing just that. Now with the snow coming, all I could think to myself was, crap, I'm going to lose my preheat, and it's going to make this a lot harder to work. We were on kind of a tight time crunch, and I needed to get this railing done as soon as possible. All right, so I'm at the point where I need to make a splice. Sometimes it's good to do this at a post. Because this is solid round stock, what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna bevel this out. I'm not doing a full pen weld, there's no point, it's a grab rail. So I'm gonna probably bevel in 1/4, 3/8, maybe a half, and I'm gonna do the same to the piece of round stock I'm gonna splice to it. We'll set up some pipe stands, we'll get it nice and tight, and weld it out. So we'll start grinding it. So we're going to set it on the pipe stand. So I finished the splice. I don't know if you can tell, but that's where it was. No, I'm just fucking with you. That's where it was. But yeah, you can see I got it pretty well cleaned up. I'm gonna take a DA and run it over that, and that should give it that final smoothed out look. But you can see it's pretty fucking smooth. Whenever you bend metal, there's going to be deflection. So it's up to you to figure out how much deflection there's going to be. Even with heat, there's going to be some deflection. Here, I'm just eyeballing it, but if this was a sheet of metal and I wanted a certain degree, I would have to figure that out. Here is the main structure of it done. I still do need to do a lamb's tongue right here. I got to figure out how I'm going to do that. But yeah, it stays pretty consistent throughout the whole thing. These rocks are very far from consistent, but as you can see, it's pretty fucking consistent. Pretty happy with how it came out. And I think it looks pretty cool. Reminds me of like a roller coaster ride.
You know, it's pretty wild. It's cool, but wild.
So the people who want this railing have asked for a lamb's tongue. I've never done that with a round stock railing. I did something up there. They were happy with it. I'm going to show you how I did it. This is my idea on how to turn round stock and give it a lamb's tongue, because obviously it's not flat stock. I can't curl the shit up like you normally would, or just buy a lamb's tongue and weld it on. So I have to do something very custom here. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut this into an obelisk, and then we're going to roll this fucker. We're going to use this pipe kind of like a spacer. It's not so much to roll it off of, it's just a spacer to keep it even with the top one, because it's the same one I used up top. I'm going to see how it turns out. Let's do it. We're going to start by cutting this into the obelisk, and then we'll start bending it in, and before we have it all the way bent in, we'll lamb's tongue this. All right, so now we've cut it down the side. What we're gonna do is we're gonna mark this way to give it that obelisk shape, and then we'll blow that out with the torch, smooth it all up with the grinder, and then we'll start our bend. so we have it all roughed in, and you can see it kind of looks like shit, you know, but I definitely did not have the torch set right, but it is what it is. What's done is done. I'm not redoing it. So now we're going to come back with a grinding wheel, grind this down, and then finish it with a flap disc. We'll start our bends after that. So that's what it looks like after I rough it in with the grinding disc. Now we're going to change to a flap disc, and we're going to finish this out. And here is what we're left with. Now that we've got that done, we're going to go ahead and start heating it. Again, this piece of pipe, it's not so much a jig as it is a spacer, just to remind me of the spatial reasoning and kind of keep it similar to the one up there. It's not going to be exactly the same. It's not. It's just a piece of art. The railing is very consistent all the way up. It's about 34 inches tall to the hip, but the stairs aren't consistent. So nothing about this job has been consistent. So we just do the best we can. We make it as visually appealing as possible. I'm going to start this off by bending this down to about like a 45. I'm not going to get scientific with it. It's going to be somewhere around there. Then I'm going to bend this out. Then I'm going to bend it in. I'm going to show you how it's done. This is time consuming and tedious, so watch how I roll it torch. So I bent it to the maximum point to which I could still get my pipe off. That's important to remember. You don't want to sacrifice a pipe if you don't have to. Yesterday I did have to cut like 3 inches off of this. I wasn't stoked about it, but it was necessary to get the job done. But I'm a little wiser today. Okay, so there is the lamb's tongue. That's about all we're going to do. Again, I'm not going to get it exactly like the one up there. I'm just going to do my best. Now comes the real magic. Because obviously I can't get a pipe over this. I'm going to have to figure out a way to pull it that way. So we're going to do all the old Nick Bazatis or Bazates or how the fuck you say his name trick. And break out a ratchet strap. Yet another great use for my little bucket here. We're going to go ahead and quench that. Reason is we don't want to melt the ratchet strap. So we're just going to quench this bad boy, let it cool down. We don't really want to cool this down if we can avoid it, but we want to cool that tip down. All right. I, of course, made sure there's no welding rods or any metal tips or debris that I'm just throwing on their lawn. It's just straight water and dirt. All right, so now that we've got that done, flip my handy dandy stainless steel keg welding bucket. If you guys want to see how to make one of these for yourself, because let me tell you something, this is one of my favorite tools I keep on my truck. I have a video about it. Search through my shit. I don't know where it is, and I'm not going to take the time to find it. So if you want to see it, you'll find it. So normally I wouldn't show you how I have everything set up because it doesn't really matter, but this time it does. I have the ratchet on this end. That's so I can pull it. Pretty simple. And what we're going to do is we're going to heat, and we're going to use this ratchet strap to finish this lamb tongue off. Now, and this is an important thing, I'm going to unclip the ratchet strap and I'm going to flip it on the other side because we're starting to pull the rail this way. I think I still got a little bit left I can do on this side. Okay. So you'll notice, you're dead on with the rail right now, but you'll notice that it's tweaked out this way a little bit. Now how we're going to get it straight is we're going to flip the ratchet onto that side, continue heating, and then pull that the last inch and a half we need to go there and finish this lamb's tongue off. As you can see, despite my best effort, it ended up off center anyway. So that's just kind of what it is when you're doing metal work. You just got to keep fucking with it and fucking with it until it's right. So now what I'm going to do is heat it back up there, and I'm going to twist it over with the piece of pipe. Okay, there it is. To me, that looks great. You can see from the side, it's got some nice details. Now my final step with this rail is to go through and knock my welds down. You can see we got pretty nice welds, but the contractor wants the weld smooth. Not my choice, it's theirs, so we're gonna go ahead and do that now. Well guys, that's it. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you learned something. I hope this helps you in your welding career. I've been doing handrails a very fucking long time, but this is the first time I've ever done a round stock railing that went up a crazy ass, jagged, way out of code stone stairway like this. But I really enjoyed myself doing it, and I've always wanted to do something like this. So I'm glad I had the opportunity. Thank you, Barnyard Builders, for including me on this build. I hope I get to do more of these for you guys in the future. And if you like what you saw here today, like, subscribe, share, head over to my website, meltonmetal.com, buy a hat, buy a t-shirt, do what you can, support your boy. And if you didn't like it, go fuck yourself.